now you can start.
Me?
Yeah, you.
Wow. No. How do we start it?
I don't know. You normally scream something.
What do you want me to scream?
All right. I'll introduce us civilly. I've actually honestly completely forgotten how we actually.
We don't have a
start
dedicated.
videos. I know, but I've forgotten how to do it generally. It's just gone. Welcome. Welcome's a good start. I'm pretty sure we always start with welcome.
It's a good.
To
good, polite.
To Barrel Vision.
No, welcome to the Barrel Vision podcast.
The Barrel.
Because the channel's called Barrel Vision. It's stuck in the
true,
past.
We have to clarify. So, welcome to the Barrel Vision podcast with your hosts. I need to stop saying that because neither of us really want to. Well, it's always just end up saying Barrel Vision.
Welcome to Barrel Vision with your host, Barrel Vision.
Yeah. Also known as Tyler and Harry.
I'm Tyler.
Don't confuse people like that.
See, I think the problem is we have very similar voices, so I feel like it's just it doesn't really matter.
I suppose.
But of course it does. Okay, I'm Harry.
I'm Tyler. Yeah. Not that it makes much of a difference if we sound the same, but it's just if we address each other as such, you'll know the other person is that person.
You would hope.
We are here to finish off the last podcast because it ran over time, because we cannot stop talking, and we're going to be wrapping up with the other two guns, the Coil Gun and Diffractor.
Nice.
Diffractor. Yeah, Diffractor.
Diffractor.
Diffractor is its scientific name.
Sharp Retractor.
We have a lot more information, like reliable information this time than last time, since it's actually released. The
experimental branch is live. It's a shit show. It's not really a shit show. The discourse on the Discord is a shit show.
I think it's good to bear in mind that everything we say here probably won't hold up come launch. Most of it probably will.
Well, it won't exactly hold up right now because what I have, the numbers, like the Shard Diffractor space stats, aren't what they are at the moment.
Yeah. So it'll get a bit messy, but
that's just been told. We'll do the Coil Gun first because it's going to be simpler.
To say.
Basically.
Yeah. So speaking of the
unscored Coil Gun.
Yeah, made by the same people that made the grenade launcher. Wait, no, it's not. What's that? That's Deep Core.
Deep Core we have to assume is a company because there's no way they named two of the first weapons that are in the game the same thing. By accident.
Yeah. Do you think Arms Core is like a off-brand?
No. No. I don't know what it is. I don't really care. It's Coil Gun or Railgun.
Yeah. Gun is secondary, as you are likely aware.
We're not going to tell you that. Just did, by the way.
But let's, so base stats. What are we kind of looking at as far as like damage?
I think before we get to base stats. Wait, what? Oh, I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I was just going to read it. It says damage 130, max ammo 640, but charged shot ammo use is also 40. Not also 40, is 40. Charge speed 100%, yeah. Reload time 2.5. Trail radius 0.3, trail duration 5. That's a long reload time. I've heard this being talked about, or seen it being talked about on the Discord. It's one of its biggest not problems, but one of the things that makes it not so fun to use, apparently. You have to reload between every shot.
Right.
Because it's a heavy hitting weapon. You load a big metal ball into it every time you shoot. Yeah, But I think it's also
Plus,
because
can you
there's
just
normal
use
shots
Born
and charge
Ready?
shots, and you have to do the same reload in between everything.
I suppose, yeah. But yeah, can you just slap on like Born Ready and then just because I doubt you need to shoot it more than once in a row. Really, it doesn't seem like that kind of weapon. It seems like the one you just whip out, destroy anything in front of you, and slap away until a rainy day. You just, I don't know.
So my understanding of it is that 130 is a normal shot, but I'm not sure if I'm actually right about that. I think that might be the charge shot, and then because that means the charge shot is 520 damage.
What does it say? How much the charge shot goes up?
No.
Well, maybe the charge shot doesn't directly affect damage. Unless you know that.
No,
it does.
I'm pretty sure it does.
Could just mean like length or power and stuff like that. But yeah, well, I guess we'll find out with the tier 1 upgrades. Now I'm going in completely blind with all this. Like I saw the other two in the previous one, but I have not seen any.
Oh yeah, it also doesn't say how much damage the trail does by default, because it does have a damage trail, which is things. It also doesn't list the penetration, but then again, the breach cutter doesn't list penetration either.
It's because it doesn't penetrate. It just
doesn't have collision.
It just continues.
Breach cutter just doesn't have collision at all.
Breach cutter is almost definitely going to get an actual terrain breaking upgrade.
Better.
Right.
Okay, so
like
what are you talking about? Shut up! Don't need to talk about breach cutter.
Yeah.
First upgrade is just extra damage, plus 40. So that's 170 per shot. It's got to be a charge shot, right? Unless you're right, unless you're right that they are the same. That's at least what the charge. That's at least the charge shot damage. The charge shot damage isn't more than that.
I'm willing to assume that until we see like a charge shot increased damage or something like that. Like I don't know, some upgrade like that. But we'll find out. Continue.
And then it's like ammo. This next one plus 280.
So
it goes from 640 to 920. Battery capacity.
That's not as big as a jump as it sounds.
No, it's a big number.
40 per shot.
Yeah, or 10 per shot.
So yeah, it's still like probably what, like how many more shots? Like
let's use big brain math time. 7 charge shots.
7, which is that's pretty good.
I mean, it's like
it's for ammo upgrades.
It's like 1,050 damage. There you go. That's maths. I might have got that wrong.
That is.
I might have got that.
Probably.
What do you mean, probably?
I am underestimating your abilities. Oh wait. Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. The next.
So
no. Source on tier 1 is charge speed. Now, what I was about to say. Charge speed feels like something I wouldn't want to pick on tier 1 if I have to pick between damage and ammo. But it's plus 140%, which means it's 240% of the normal charge speed if you pick this upgrade. Which is very cool.
It's a big enough upgrade to warrant an actual decision to be had.
I'd say so. But who am I to judge?
Fair play.
Well, I don't really know how long it feels to charge up. That's the problem. Hello?
I assume a little while. Looks a little while.
Yeah, it doesn't look quick. So maybe it is worth taking. It's just, to me, on tier 1, if you have to pick between... I don't think they normally even put ammo upgrades on tier 1. That's not that common.
They have it on the Loki.
I don't...
That's the only one that has a
what the Loki does.
ammo upgrade.
The smart rifle. Loki.
Yeah. It is called Loki.
Sure.
Lock 1. The 1 is an I. Loki.
Right, so tier...
T2.
Tier 2 mod 1 overcharger. It says it's categorized as special damage. So it's like one of those ones where it's just a
Oh.
plus. Just says plus overcharge at the bottom. So I have to read the description. Rerouting the excess energy back into the magnetic flux keeps the coils charging way over the limit. Oh, increasing damage the longer you hold a full charge. That's pretty interesting for a tier 2 upgrade.
I assume there's a cap, right?
Yeah. Because no, because there is a cap because there's a cap for just how long you can hold it anyway. There's a cap for how long you can hold the charge anyway, and it will sort of just. I don't think it uses it up, but it sort of just fizzles out and like jams for like a second.
Yeah, the same thing it does for like EPC, doesn't it? Like if you hold it for too long, it kind of just uncharges.
Yeah, it's actually exactly like that. I thought you were just talking about how EPC, shooting the EPC increases heat when you overheat. It's not exactly. It is overheating technically. But it's fine. It's fine.
Right. Yeah.
So the cap in terms of time is how long it takes for it to just jam. But we don't know how much damage that it adds every second or whatever.
I would imagine a reasonable amount. Like if it go, I don't know, if there's like 5 extra seconds, probably like 10% per second.
10%? I don't think it'd be percentage. I think probably a flat value.
Maybe, but I think the flat
between
value
10 to 20
be like 10%. Yeah. Like,
the flat value might be 10%. Do you know what you just said?
Yeah, but I don't know. It's 140 damage, right? So 14 per second.
Okay, I think maybe. Oh, the next one is another one where it's just plus. The actual numbers added on. Controlled magnetic flow. By controlling the magnetic flow of the coil, you can fire as soon as the gun charges a single bar at any point after, with both damage and energy consumption scaled. Right, so I think I figured out how it works.
Yeah, I think yeah. So
charge shot is a normal shot.
Isn't actually a thing. It's just a shot. It's just with that upgrade you can then do a lesser
Yeah, I
shot.
think it's just like a 10, 20 and 30 ammo usage ones where it's like 25% added each time.
For the people that already knew that, I bet they were cringing.
Yeah, I am forgetting that people are using these weapons right now, and we're not.
Yeah.
And we're giving our, well-founded thoughts on them.
Well, yeah. Mix of thoughts, mix of just going through them for anyone that hasn't heard them yet.
I think this next one, this is still on tier 2. I think this sort of proves that the reload time is a thing, and it's meant to be quite slow because it's reduced reload time, improved feeding mechanism, or improved feeding system, -1 second, so it's 1.5 seconds. 1.5 seconds isn't long, but I guess 2.5 is, and I guess the point is that having increased reload speed is meant to be a big enough deal that it stands alongside those two.
Yeah. Well, I think that is kind of interesting because, like, I don't know if you noticed it, but since they added like the 3rd gen, which is what I'm calling these new secondaries and the season 1 primaries, they have added a lot more just like plus effects. Like if you don't,
they just don't know how to incorporate them into the display of the normal stats.
It's just kind of weird.
I don't know what else we can say about that other than on a weapon where you only get 1 shot per clip, your reload speed is your rate of fire, really. Effectively. Hello?
Yeah.
To move on? Yes. Good old fear. Just says fear Tier 3, they're both of these mods are like have something to do with trajectory, which is another thing I don't know what that means. Okay. Fear trajectory. Projectiles release sonic impulses scaring any creature near the trajectory. I think the trajectory it's just a radius around the shot. It says trajectory effect radius 2.5, trajectory fear factor 75%. And then the other one is somewhat. I don't know if it's actually a different radius, it's 1.5. 50% stun chance. 3 seconds. So in terms of the fear one, I don't know how strong that fear is, because that's not going to, like...
Isn't that the broken
No,
fear?
that's Banshee module for the crossbow. We talked about that.
Yeah.
As in, we talked about it on the record. Yeah.
I remember when you tell me stuff.
It should, in my opinion, it should match the grenade launcher's fear, which is 100%. Which isn't going to fear anything bigger than a Praetorian, but it does fear a Praetorian. That means chances are this won't... It doesn't seem that effective. But then again, it can affect a lot of enemies at once. And the stun is only 50% chance. But that means, though, like a 50%, that doesn't mean that the shot has... Well, it does mean that the shot only has a 50% chance to stun, but it means chances are that if you fight into a group, multiple of those enemies are going to get stunned, but a lot of them also aren't, which is weird.
Yeah.
Pretty funny. It's also
Stun is a bit
3
awkward.
seconds.
It's good, but awkward.
Stun is always awkward when you're fighting Praetorians. Because it's never long enough for them to not turn around again while you're shooting them. I don't know. As an engineer, I get great pain in that regard. Tier 4. Now, this is the tier I think... I look at it and I think... You just got to pick one, but I don't know how useful each of them really are. So, the first one is Defense Enhancement, which is you get 33% damage resistance while charging. Hold on. Okay, maybe that is more useful than I thought, because I remember you can just hold it for a certain amount of time. And you can probably use that to get out of sticky situations if you want to. Just by holding it.
Plus, I swear Gunner had something else like
that. It's on the Thunderhead. You get 20% damage resistance at max rate of fire.
And then you slap on like a...
Veteran Depositor.
Veteran Depositor. And you actually got like a damage resistance build.
Yeah, I'm going to try that. Okay,
which is pretty sick.
It's not as redundant as I thought. Because it is also a ranged weapon. That is a long range weapon. It doesn't really feel like... I think it's a weapon that can be used at short range, but it's not going to get you out of sticky situations in short range. But this would help somewhat. I guess so with the next one. I guess that's the point of both of these upgrades, because the other one is the Shockwave. Like the boomstick has, but the boomstick has it by default. It's like 20 damage shockwave, like front AoE, which is really, that's the one that seems more redundant in retrospect out of the two of them, because that's like 20 damage to anything in a certain radius, not a radius, in a certain area in front of you. I know it's nothing compared to the actual shot.
Really bad.
Yeah, it's not great. It can kill SWAT.
That's not going to kill anything.
It's pretty piss poor, actually. Chances are I'm not going to pick that.
That might need a bit touching up. Because even if you don't intend on using the defensive buff that gives, it's still a better
I'd say so. Probably. Well, I'm trying to think of what uses the defense one would have normally.
I mean, I guess that, having the extra 20 damage shockwave will be included with the damage you do with a gun. So you're then doing a 20 extra bit of damage.
I mean, all I would say is that if you're going to use the shockwave one, you should also definitely use the mod where you can use less ammo than 40 for every shot,
Yeah, that would actually probably work quite well. That you basically have like a pulsating close thing. Well, actually no, because it takes the same amount of time to reload, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, and the reload speed is on the same tier.
That seems pretty...
That's a pretty whack-ass.
Wank.
That's one of the few upgrades, probably one of the only upgrades out of all these weapons I've looked at and thought, that's just not that great, is it? But now, tier 5. Pardon me. It's like a decent tier 5 selection here. Starts with Necrothermal Catalyst.
Always got to love when necro
makes things cool. Involved. It can also make things very taboo and inappropriate, depending on the context.
Depending if you're trying to adopt a little kitten.
Do you know how weird that sounds without context?
If you've seen the meme, which I'd be surprised if you had, you know what we're on about. And if you haven't, which you likely haven't, then we're talking.
Necrothermal Catalyst is another just plus in the effect name. Killing a burning enemy turns them into a large explosion of fire and gore, damaging anything nearby. I forgot that it was just the burning thing. So when we first discussed this, we were sort of like, okay, so it must be a pretty decent explosion. It's not that difficult to set things on fire as a gunner, but it's got to be good.
It's about as easy as driller.
It depends on what you have. If you have burning hell, obviously, probably easier.
But the same could be said for driller. If you have a cryo cannon, then so.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where I feel ill-equipped to talk about it because it doesn't tell us the stats, so we can't really judge it. But I also haven't heard anyone else talk about it on the Discord.
Well, that's the thing. I'm really not seeing anyone else really talk about the Coil Gun generally, right? Like, it's definitely one of the ones that's going underneath the radar. I don't seem to probably not because it's bad, but because it's.
I think it is because it's fine.
Fine.
But to me, it seems slightly too interesting to just
talk about things if they're bad or broken. So, I mean,
well, it's not that crazy.
Know,
actually, really.
Things that make things explode isn't that wild nowadays. Like with the new syringe on the crossbow.
The syringe.
And the Loki also has one where it can just detonate things. And so just having things explode into mists. Also, Wave Cooker does that as well.
Yeah.
So
great.
Yeah.
Well done, Necrothermal Catalyst. You're not as interesting as you sound, but it should be. I hope. Oh right, okay. This is probably the least interesting of the tier 5 upgrades. But it's another one of those ones. It's like the reload speed one, where I've sort of taken this new perspective when it comes to more simple upgrades. So I think maybe there's a reason they think this can, stand up to the others. So dilated injector system, which that name is a little bit too much because it's just increases the trail radius by 0.5 meters. So it's from 0.3 to 0.8, which it doesn't make it.
So is that like
the width of the trail? But it's a circle. So when you consider radius, that's a lot bigger than it sounds.
I mean, it sounds boring, but that adds a lot. Like if you wanted a trail build, then that's
pretty
an
much.
Essential part,
Well,
really, isn't it?
I think that the next one affects the trail as well. Electric trail.
It might.
R&D spent hours to fix the projectiles with titanium wiring that enables them to transfer some of the electric energy from the gun to the damage trail. What makes the trail do more damage? And Gunner can't electrocute that often.
Think that's
really,
just like
things at all. Only one, actually.
Not any good ways.
Also, this is just a mod, so it's kind of like, well, that's good anyway.
Yeah, I think it's just what was the first
Necrothermal Catalyst.
Right. So this is just what you would pick if you just want a bit more boost of damage, really. Just if you just want a normal gun, but you have to pick a tier 5 upgrade, which you do if you or you don't. You could not pick one, but if you had to for like a normal build, then this one's probably a pretty good one to do, because then you'll just also do electricity, and so you'll just be doing more damage, which is nice.
Imagine pairs well with the. I don't know what to call it in the shorthand. The one where you don't have to use 40 ammo. It seems a bit too wordy.
Yeah.
But if a short
shot. I coined the term. It's going to spread.
Yeah, it does.
Sounds bad.
Oh yeah,
right. Overclocked.
Okay. Do that.
Those exist. Yeah.
Do that. I don't know where to start. I guess we'll start on the left. We'll start with the mole. I don't know if I was really planning that. It looks like I have a choice.
This is the only one that I've heard of. Because you mentioned it to me.
Also, I'm not complete. Like some of these, they don't really make exactly clear what they do, but I'm not entirely in the dark. I've been very observant on the Discord. I'm aware of all discourse that goes on. Anyway, the mole is a balanced overclock. Wait, hold on. Yeah, the Coil Gun has 3 balanced overclocks. 2 unstable, 1 clean. Actually, I think the Shard Diffractor's the same. Oh, no, it's not. No, the Shard Diffractor isn't the same. The Shard Diffractor's 2 cleans. 3 back. Well, no, it's 1.
We'll talk about that later,
Okay, the mole.
yeah.
Damage bonus for every terrain pierced. Greater penetrability, slower rate of fire. So that's weird wording, isn't it?
Greater penetrability implies that there is greater, so that it's not infinite. First of all, there is. You can only dig so deep.
I think it is literally to do with the Dino. It can go through more terrain. I don't think it's not penetration. It's not enemy penetration. It has infinite enemy penetration.
No, it is. It is saying terrain, but I think the fact that it's saying it's adding more means that there is a limit, and it might be a limit that you'll notice if you want to actually use penetration.
And this overclock is sort of meant to make that.
This build does.
Bring that to the forefront. I'd say it is kind of a gimmick of the gun as well. There are utilities for it, but I think it's just going to make it more consistent in those utilities. It's not going to change much about how you use it, though.
And I think it sounds good and sounds kind of fun. You know what I mean? Not that we actually really.
Well, no, it's a damage bonus for every terrain pierced, which is, like I said, is confusing wording. Every terrain, what every individual entire terrain.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can really assume. I don't know how they'd keep track of this, but it would have to be like every in and out is one. Terrain.
I don't think it's. I think it's just the amount of terrain, and it's very small numbers are involved.
I guess there's probably like meters that it tallies.
I was like the idea of lining up like the perfect shots on things.
Through walls.
Oh god! I was thinking about trying to use it against like an omen. You could have like a driller drill into a wall, and then you shoot through it. But then again, you're not. I said that it's going to. The terrain penetration thing is going to make it good against basically any stationary targets, probably except the omen. Yeah. Well, it's good against stationary targets because you can shoot them without having to be in their line of fire. But the omen just doesn't. Those shits just keep moving around. It's not going to happen. But that's the mole. Triple tech chambers. Oh, it's an unstable. Oh god, this image has part of the description off screen. Allows the gun to fire with residual energy up to 2 times in quick succession after shooting. Okay. Fire with residual energy up to 2 times after shooting. Longer reload time, slower charge rate, stronger recoil. So at least it doesn't decrease ammo. I hate overclocks that take away ammo. As far as I'm concerned, if it doesn't take away ammo, it doesn't really do much damage. And that's what I'm looking for because I'm a coward.
Fair. So what is that? You fired 2 shots?
3, actually. I think what confuses me is it says fires up to 2 times after shooting. Because it's like, it just fires 2, like, normal, basically, bullets. But not really. It fires, after you shoot once, it fires 2 smaller shots that don't have a trail.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, they don't penetrate and don't have the trail. Which is just...
They don't have to penetrate. The first one penetrated for him.
True. See, this is what I was referring to when I said I'm not actually that in the dark. But then again, I feel like I don't really know the point of this. And it's one that I really need to use for myself to understand.
Yeah. I think we'll leave it at that.
But the thing is, it looks like the description says something about reducing the damage of normal shots, but it doesn't say that it does that as one of the penalties. If it doesn't, I can see the use. It's a little extra damage against bigger targets, I suppose. Right. Well, this should be quick though. It's just a clean overclock. Well, the only clean though. Ultramagnetic coils, longer trail duration, bigger trail radius. Well, good for trail build. We have to assume they're small though, because these overclocks, they appear quite often, and they do tend to be really good. Where it's just like it takes 2 things and increases them, even if it's slightly. It's just the fact that it's for free and it's 2 different parts of the weapon that have been buffed. They tend to be really strong. and they're always surprisingly
The
common.
crossbow one.
But
That increases like, special
numbers
bolts
here.
and effectiveness.
But,
Yeah.
well, yeah, we're not going to get much point out of that compared to these other ones. Reatomizer is the balanced one. Oh god, I feel a burp coming. Hold on. Pardon me. It's not.
So
it's
fake.
not. Okay, sorry. Reatomizer, balanced overclock, spreads target ailments to enemies behind them. Longer reload time. Now, what?
Ah! Well, I just... That's cool,
Well, I mentioned it to you before.
the way that works. I'd never
Okay.
heard this in my life. Yeah, that sounds... So, like, if you... There's like a Praetorian that's on fire, you shoot that Praetorian, and there's a bunch of grunts
Yeah,
behind
I
it,
just
they
hope
get
that
set
it.
on fire.
What does the description say? Yeah, it's weird to me because it feels slightly too precise if it's just the shot that carries the effect. But like, if the trail carries the effect, then I'd understand. Because you can increase the trail size.
Yeah,
Because then it feels
I
like you're not going to
assume
hit
so.
that many enemies,
That-
and what can Gunner do on his own is really going to benefit that great from this. Like, if you're using a fire build, you've got a lot of fire AoE.
Well, the fire build mixed with the other fire, like, explosive effect of the other thing, that was just like an upgrade.
Yeah,
wasn't
I
it? So,
guess.
damn, that's a build.
I just want to see how it works with other players. Like cryo and pheromones.
Well,
I don't know. What counts as an ailment?
I think
I was about to say we'll have to wait and see,
Probably will.
but a lot of people know. I don't know where to find this information. Because someone's talking about it. But it's a cool idea, and we can speak more on it when we have our first impressions.
played.
So next is the other unstable overclock, Hellfire, with a good name. Right. Ignites ground or other terrain within 2 meters of projectile trajectory. Increased trail radius and duration. Significantly less ammo, slower charge rate. Now I've seen this in action, kind of, and I would say it's actually.
This, I think, was
Yeah.
what one was using in the...
Yeah. So that sounds like it works for the trail build, but it also, I find the description about the fire itself weird because it's like ignites the ground or other terrain, but it ignites the enemies. It's just fire. It's just a ring of fire around the projectile
Yeah.
and a trail of fire.
It seems dope.
It looks really cool.
Yeah.
And I think what draws me to the Coil Gun a lot, like, I don't know why people aren't seeing. Maybe, like I said, kind of, we would need to use it to know. But I see the potential for a fire build that doesn't necessarily use volatile bullets. A revolver.
Yeah. Because, I mean, as good as volatile bullets are, normally you only really want to save the revolver for, like, big guys, which is not a bad thing. It's very, very good at that. But then there's not really a secondary for the smaller guys in a fire build, which I guess this kid's now for, like, you know.
Well, I like it because I feel like a limit of burning hell is it's limited. The fire is limited to close range, and this you could just go through an entire horde. It's like an infinite range breach cutter infinite range breach cutter of Inferno. Is basically what this is.
And now, if you wanted to have neurotoxin primary, you could now slap this on as a secondary and have a neurotoxin fire build.
Thank you, because I didn't think of that. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing is that neurotoxin doesn't really need any
more
more help.
I think it's going to be fun because you could also this increases the trail duration and radius, so then you could also slap on electric trail and have a big electric area at the same time. And then you got,
three effects at the same time.
I'm going to do that.
Ooh.
That's going to be one of the. Well, that's what I'll do as soon as I get Hellfire, basically. Next is the other balanced overclock, the third balanced overclock. This one's rather simple though. A backfeeding module. More ammo, lower damage output. I think it's like 300 something.
Fair enough.
It's like,
Gotta love the good old classic ammo
Yeah.
overclocks.
I'm probably just going to use
extend
like something like
guns
this
for
to
a
just.
while.
I'll pair it with like the short thing and the electric trail, just to dunk on like a bunch of crap, just
Electric
constantly.
trail-
I can just constantly fire shots
Or-
that have electric trails,
and
just
like
as many times as I want. So many.
yeah, and slap like the shotgun.
Yeah,
effect. I think
yeah,
I'd probably
yeah.
be alright with it.
Oh yeah, I would pair those two.
I
Sounds
think
like a good pair.
that you basically just have like the boomstick that as like a thing. That'd be like your shotgun secondary, which is pretty dope.
But you definitely would take increased reload with that, just because you have more ammo as well. It would make me more reload, because I'd get annoyed.
Yeah.
I think eventually.
Yeah. But I mean, by the sounds of what you said, it seemed like that's basically the only thing they really want to touch up is the reload time. Which even then, you know.
Well, apart from
fair,
you sort of said that there's not been much discussion because it's kind of just fine, and it's true. But it's what I have seen is mostly negative, but also mostly about reload time, making it annoying to use.
Yeah, but I think you increase the reload time, reload quicker, and then it becomes a lot stronger of a weapon. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to have some sort of flaw in it. Like, you know, the amount of damage you'd be able to put out if you could reload it in like every second would be a bit ridiculous. So it's got to have something to complain about, I think.
Well, I think we can actually move on because.
Yeah, a bit.
That's
Took us a bit longer than I thought. It's not, but sure.
It's fine.
Right.
Shot Diffractor, this monstrous thing.
There's not much to be
What do you
said
mean?
about this thing. I mean, I
What do you
think
say?
it's an alright gun. I think most people agree on that. It's
So this thing's been.
It's just you know.
What's the phrase? Something with the storm, whipping up a storm. Is that right? Whipping up a shitstorm in the Discord.
Whipping.
Because my god, it's a controversial weapon.
Reddit even.
Well, not even controversial. It's just everyone's like, it's too weak. They buffed it. Everyone's like, okay, we buffed it again. It's, oh no! Oh, what have you done? Alright. And this is what I mean. The stats I have here aren't really reflecting what it actually does. My understanding is that the base damage is 7, the area damage is also 7, and the effect radius is. Well, I don't think that's changed. Actually, no, I think it's 7. Oh my god! You know, that's big. You know that's that's a lot bigger than Fat Boy.
7 meters.
I actually don't know how to navigate.
Big ass laser beam.
Talking about the base stats.
Then I don't think we should.
We could just say it's like
clearly they're going to be volatile.
It's like this. It's got a lot of ammo. It's a more general use, direct damage / AOE. Engineer secondary. It started off where you had to use it in bursts. So, as in, if you want to view it as having magazines, you would have to use the whole magazine every time you fired.
So it started off being a burst weapon, like they made it, and then people complained about it, so they changed their design.
Which ended up removing a clean overclock.
Yeah.
That's great. So you're saying we should just go through the upgrades anyway?
Well, yeah, I mean, not necessarily the numbers, because clearly they're going to change, but they haven't changed any of the upgrades, have they?
Well, none of the mods.
So, yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's go. Tier 1. Area of effect. Oh, that just doubles it.
Wow.
Well,
oh my.
From 1 to 2.
I mean, it's not that big area. Yeah. So fair enough. It just makes it. It
and
gives
a damage
it an
increase.
Area of effect.
And an ammo increase of 540.
Standard has ones. Well, tier 1.
Yeah, it is. Very standard tier 1 stuff.
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
What?
It doesn't sound. It's not that exotic. Okay, first one is actually weak point damage bonus, which it is cool.
I didn't expect.
Well, no, this is what I was saying though, because it is, in terms of its nature as like an engineered secondary. I think all of the primaries have a way of increasing weak point damage. Although I think on the smart rifle, I think it's just executioner. But then you just wouldn't expect that from an engineered secondary. But this one does it because it does have a certain amount of focus on direct damage. I mean, it's a combination of the two. And you can spec into direct damage if you want to, and this is just part of it. 33% increased weak point damage, which is it's sizable. It's good. And the other one is right. Yeah. It's thinking awkward. It gets awkward because improved beam efficiency, something to do with energy consumption. It says energy efficiency plus 25%. Now this is like a what's the word? A ticking time bomb. No, the dominoes are falling, and I'm starting to realise what's actually going on here. So the base weapon has 1,350 total capacity, like ammo. That's not how many instances of damage it deals, though. And I think I saw its base stats once after they changed, but I lost a picture. And it was like 390 ammo, which is the actual amount of instances of damage. Because you have this thing where it's energy efficiency, which is plus 25%, which basically means you have 25% more ammo. But they removed it because it doesn't use efficiency anymore. It just has a flat amount of ammo. Instead of being a battery where you use more than one of the ammo for every instance of damage. It's really weird. It's a weird weapon. It's like I was saying before, wasn't I? I was saying this looks like more simple than the others, and I think it is. I think it will be eventually. It's just it's causing a ruckus.
Well,
they simplified it though. That's the thing. I think it was simpler than the other three, the new weapons, and they simplified it even further.
Yeah.
I just need to find the stuff that we actually can coming up. That was thing. So that's just rate of 5. That's blah, blah, blah. Tier 3. Then it's a Tier 3 now. Discharge. Why is it called Discharge Mod? It's called Discharge Mod. It's just got mod in the mod name. It's sick. So that increases rate of fire by 5. From 12 to 5. So it was already a fast firing weapon, which we didn't really talk about. And I suppose that makes sense why people will compare it to the minigun.
Yeah, just pisses through ammo, but it's got plenty.
Well, I don't know if it actually does have plenty anymore. I think it looked like it did. But now we know the truth.
Well, that's the same with the minigun.
Well, that's true, actually. That's true.
I think it's displayed.
I am pretty convinced it's a more general use weapon. I mean, just looking at the stats, that seems to be the way it is compared to the other two engineered primaries. But I don't think it actually has a huge ammo pool. And the next one is magazine capacity. Oh god! And now I'm realising more shit. Because it says that the charge capacity is 90 on the base stats, but is it actually not 90? It's like 22 or something now.
Definitely ain't.
Or some stupid shit. If it's 20, I'm going to throw a fit because that's how much the aspect of Lucifer has in the clip in Hades, because they're the same thing. And then the proximity mines are the Hellfire orbs, right?
Sure. I've never got that weapon, so I have no idea what you're on about. I mean, I know what you got about it because you don't show about it, but I never actually found it.
Actually, because before they changed it, the magazine size was actually how much ammo you'd use every time you press the trigger. And I don't know how I find it weird that this was supposed to seem like that great of an addition, like increasing the amount you would use
every time you shoot. People were complaining about how it didn't actually do enough. In the end of the day, like you still wouldn't actually kill all of them even in the burst. So it's either like a waste or not enough. So this
and
would
I think
actually
that's
make
probably
it
the
good
strongest
enough.
argument to me for making it just completely manually fired. Is that if it just wasn't good enough to not waste ammo, then I see why it makes sense to me. I understand.
I think it should have just had like way more ammo than needed. So like you would waste it a lot, but eventually there comes a point where you'll get good enough with it where you don't waste it and it becomes amazing.
And also on tier 3, so tier 3 is a pretty simple tier. It's just charge speed, which is reload time. So it goes from 2.5 to 1.4. Wait, no, that's incorrect.
So far, these are more of the.
I'll go from 2.3 to 1.4.
Don't worry about the numbers.
Oh.
Because
the numbers don't mean anything. And then increased area damage, so you can do that. Well, what doesn't mean nothing is that the gun has like a base heat component or fire component that we didn't talk about.
So it deals fire
direct
damage.
Target heating,
wow,
25%.
A new weapon that deals fire damage. Well, hold on. Every single secondary deals fire damage. Right?
The wave cooker doesn't actually do that, technically.
Right. You're right, but I think you get my point. They rely on fire so much. They love the fire effect. It's whack. And in all fairness, a lot of them are just applying a lot of effect.
Stay tuned, everyone.
I can't blame
Soon
the crossbow for
will
dealing
begin
fire.
his case, defamation trial of fire.
I hate fire and everything it represents. And that includes the flamethrower.
Hold on.
I'm going to probably have to make like a PowerPoint presentation for that video.
Fire. Do you hate that?
Gunner's fire build doesn't count.
It's the other thing.
Gunner's fire build would work just as well if it was any other effect. Like it's not the fact that it's fire. It's more the fact that they chose fire and then they chose fire for volatile bullets. Like it could have been like a radiation minigun, which wouldn't make much sense, albeit, but still, right? But that's fine because then it would literally be flamethrower, flame minigun, and that would be like it. Fine, but then they chose fire for the hurricane as well. Now there's fire for all of the secondaries.
The minigun uses depleted uranium rounds, and maybe just some of them weren't depleted.
Sure,
they were just fully radioactive.
Yeah,
which wouldn't be good.
I mean, it's dumb, it's annoying, but we'll get to it. We need to finish this off.
Tier 4 mod
4.
2. High intensity heating goes from 25% to 60%. I don't know if the number changed for that. I think it's just better at setting things on fire now because they increased the damage overall. People say it's actually really good at setting things on fire. And
bring up fire one more time and I'm leaving. I'm getting heated. No wait, no I'm not. Ah! Get it? Because I hate fire and getting heated.
I'm going to shoot you with volatile bullets.
Just move on.
Next one is just armor breaking, which if they get armor breaking to work right, it's fine. It's fine.
Cool beans, laser beam, armor breaking, weak point bonus.
It just works.
It just works.
It's 400% increase to armor breaking.
And just like Bethesda, it didn't work on launch. It did not work.
That's a weird name. Tier 5.
Todd Howard actually designed
Tier 5? What do you mean Todd Howard? What did Todd Howard do? Don't implicate Todd Howard in D-Box development. That's weird.
He designed the laser beam.
Tier 5 mod 1. Hydrogen rupturing, which is plus 33% damage against electrically affected. So it's going to pair well with the stubby. It's going to pair well with the lock 1 because you can electrocute things with it. Just good stuff. Just going to make it do a lot more damage. And if you're using the stubby, most of the things you're shooting should be electrocuted. Or if you, I think it could be good for both AoE and single target builds because you.
Oh,
What?
oh, you know what it could be good with? The turret arc, because you'll get like a line of turrets.
Well, this is what I was kind of about to say.
Arcing, electric, and then you could also line them, and then there'll be the floor effect as well. So.
Point. Well, that's why it'd be good for AoE and direct damage builds because you can easily, electrocute single targets, and just tear them apart. But then you can also use the stubby in certain ways to do a lot of like electric AoE, and then you have swarms electrocuted up for you to just melt.
Yeah.
Biomass Converter. The fun one.
Oh, right. This is the only one I heard of.
An invention with the purpose of making war more energy efficient has been added as a fancy attachment, enabling your weapon to extend the current beam duration of every kill. Basically, what that actually means, now that they've made it so you could just manually fire it, killing enemies just gives you ammo.
Yeah, they're probably going to have to change that. And by have to,
I wanted to do that. I like that idea.
That is only reasonable when you were wasting ammo, right?
But it did make you waste more ammo. Kind of. Well, it did make you waste more, but it made you use. It did force you to use more.
Yeah, and then that's why the upgrade is kind in giving it to you back.
It just rewarded not wasting ammo by giving you more ammo to potentially waste. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's odd. But like I said, the understanding of it is that killing enemies just gives you more ammo. We don't really know how much. We know it's probably going to be reduced. But even if it's really small, that's going to be good. Unless they get rid of it, which I hope they don't.
Super energy mag saving. At least change it maybe. In making it reasonable. I'm going to kill my sibling.
Do that.
Next final.
The Dazzler module. He's playing FIFA. Dazzler module, which is a slowdown effect. What does it say? Right, good. So it specifically says slows down enemies in the area of effect, but it's also an 80% slowdown. So this isn't for chumps. That's a big slowdown, and the fact that it's everything that it hits in the area as well. That's just grinding swarms to a halt.
Always nice. Especially with Lasso and Loki.
I would mainly just use, just for clumping them together. You have like a big horde of enemies coming towards you. You slow the ones in front, and they just get grouped up more and more. So you're doing more. You're becoming more and more efficient.
Plasma cutter, not plasma cutter. What's the grenade?
What?
That too. What's the grenade that you just kind of lob in there?
Plasma burst.
That's the one. Just get them clumped together with that.
Yeah, sounds like fun to me.
Have a field day.
Now we can go to the overclocks, which we actually have less to talk about because one of them got removed. I guess we have to talk about that one.
Right.
So let's start with that quickly.
Well, we've nodded to that quite a few times.
We haven't said exactly what it is. So hacked beam controller was a clean overclock where beam stops firing when you release the fire button. So you just control how you shoot manually. It was made a part of the base weapon instead of you being forced to dump the entire mag.
Thanks to
popular
meme
the
requests.
whining and crying of. Maybe I shouldn't throw shade at. It's just the people in Discord, technically.
Well, there was somebody that made the stance like that, didn't they? I see you read something that was like, if the game's pandering to people that are whining and crying, can I get this or stuff like that? But yeah, I mean, it's valid, right? But I feel like they kind of tainted their creation. Like, I think it was a purposeful choice that it was a burst laser, and I think them changing.
I think when that happened, I think I said to you, even if it turns out that I actually wouldn't have liked it that way, I just, on principle, I just prefer that they put their foot down and stick with their decisions.
I think even still, I think that it'll be valid, it'll be fine if they re-add that as like an unstable overclock or something like that, where it's a burst fire, but it increases the damage, probably, because you're going to be wasting more ammo. Something like that. Brings the original one back, and I think that would be pretty cool. So just do that game, I'll allow it. And then we won't have to have a stern discussion on you bending your knee
To bend
to the community.
you over my knee and spank you. Go ship. Mickle.
Yes, I will do that to the entire PIM personally.
So it looks like, which means what was all that?
Let's talk about the ones that are actually still in the game.
So as it stands, the shard diffractor only has 5 overclocks. 1 stable, 1 clean, 3 balanced again, like the Coil Gun. Looks like we're starting with the most interesting one though. Endothermic Reflector, which is the unstable one. Shooting platforms increases AoE and damage. Laser can reflect off platform surfaces twice, and it just has a slower reload. So, platform interactions with the gun. Here we go.
Do you think the deflecting, or do you know if the deflecting is like angled?
Well, that's
like
what I kind of hope it is.
Or is it like...
Kind of, unless it just automatically, which I don't know how they would have it be automatic, where it just locks onto other platforms. I don't know. I've heard I haven't heard bad things about it though. I've heard it's fun, at least.
Sounds it. It's a classic unstable overclock.
I think everyone's just throwing around the idea of like creating halls of lasers with platforms. Something. Okay. I hope you can do that.
I don't think there should be a limit to that stuff because I can't imagine it's easy to do. But we'll see how it is. But let's get on to
Well, this is clean, so it's not going to be difficult. Well, I mean, it's not going to take us long. Efficiency tweaks, increased charge capacity, reduced energy consumption. Oh right, okay, forgot. Energy's gone.
So more ammo.
No, increased magazine capacity and reduced energy consumption, which would have mean you would use less ammo. So yeah, it would have been more ammo, but now that it doesn't work like that.
But now we don't know.
Like we said, it's in a really weird place.
Yeah.
The sharp diffractor.
Yeah.
It is the talk of the town. It's been buffed twice now. Oh god, I just accidentally zoomed in on the image like a lot.
Yeah.
But now we have 3 balanced overclocks to talk about.
Balanced.
Feedback loop.
Plenty
Oh right, this is the one that made me say this is just aspect of Lucifer. Feedback loop. Balanced overclock. AoE damage and range increases over the duration of the beam. Oh god, I didn't even actually notice that. Okay. Significantly reduced max battery capacity. Okay, so you have a lot less actual ammo. Well, it's got to be a quick and like substantial increase.
Okay.
And this is more of like a swarm clip. This makes it less situational, in my opinion. But it increases the radius like, over time. That's pretty cool, man. Yeah. Oh dear. So yeah, this is like aspect of Lucifer from Hades, basically. Because the damage ramps over time. But the fact that the AoE does as well is pretty bizarre. You wouldn't expect that.
Continue.
Okay. So we have Volatile Impact Reactor. Another balanced one. Actually, they're all balanced from here. Well, the last two are balanced. Beam turns terrain into magma on impact. Decreased magazine capacity, smaller AoE. Well, smaller AoE, that's just fine. That's what you'd expect. Because now it's coming from the floor.
Yeah.
And, like you said, probably going to pay a turret arc. Just put it along the line of the turret arc.
Yeah. Double up. Because, I mean, turret arc's pretty good as is, but some of them can get through. But with that,
I don't see how they could.
Sticky flames! Right,
oh my god, it's Sticky Flames version 3. Holy shit.
Whoa. Yeah, I'm going to need to make that video sooner rather than
Although,
later. That is
I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. So to me, this what doesn't make sense about this is why it's not an unstable overclock. It's got 3 balanced ones, but one of them turns the floor into magma. Well,
I guess it's just not good enough.
Maybe.
It's not a wild enough thing. It's not like the pros and cons aren't big enough for it to be unstable. And I would like it to be the case. So if they just buff it up a bit,
Well, this next one though should be an unstable because it is exactly the same as Lead Storm for the minigun. Right. Overdrive booster drastically increase the energy throughput as a typo by pressing the fire button again while the beam is firing. Wait, what? Hold on, that's not going to carry over, is it? Unfortunately, maintaining control requires that you stand still while firing boosted beam. Significant damage boost, reduced energy efficiency, can't move while boosting. So I guess the reduced energy efficiency thing won't really fine. Apparently, I think they buffed this overclock specifically as well as just buffing the gun a lot overall. Apparently, it's beastly. What I've heard. Apparently, this is really strong.
I mean, if it does enough damage, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't have a number, so I couldn't even say that even if I had the information. It's just plus overdrive booster.
Yeah.
So, like I said, but in what it does in practice, it's just Lead Storm. You can't move while shooting, but you do a lot of damage. But apparently, it's enough where people are like, oh dear, this is a lot. Oh dear. You might go too far here, but I don't know why I would say about that because it's a PvE game. There's no reason to be annoyed that things are overpowered. Idiots.
Well, the only issue with overpowered is that eventually the game is too easy. That's the only reason why overpoweredness should be avoided in a PvE game. But as long as it's like not insta-killing everything immediately, then it's not the end of the world. Then it should have a lot less ammo, which is how, yeah. But basically, to sum it up, we really want to play the new update.
To sum it up, it looks like Gunner's getting secondary that is less general use than what he has already, and the Engineer's getting one that is more general use than what he has already. There you go. That's actually everything you need to know.
Point is, I think, and to sum everything up, they've definitely gone hard on these secondaries.
They did say that. Didn't they say something like after doing the primaries, they sort of just became less inhibited?
Just pulled all the ideas
about in terms of creativity.
They just went wacky. They went stupid. But yeah, and you can kind of feel it with some of these upgrades of guns and stuff. And I look forward to using all of them, and I want to use all of them.
Also, the shot Diffractor is powered by a chunk of armor and heartstone.
Time. That is also cool that is a thing.
When you retrieve the heartstone in a escort duty, you can put it in the shot Diffractor, and then
actually, doing armor and heartstone.
Imagine
that. The laser beam isn't actually the same laser beam as the oil refite fuel.
Obviously not.
Because then they'd be using the armor and heartstones to charge the machine that harvests the armor and heartstones.
Work, the fact that the oil tanks just fill up by shooting rocks, that
is the thing, isn't it?
Biomass Converter. What the shit is happening?
Yeah. Except it's just mass converter.
I don't like it.
All in all, wacky ass guns.
I think it's solar powered.
Look forward. Have a great night or morning or whenever you're watching this / listening to this.
Or morning.
No, they're not.
I'm in morning.
Yeah.
For the grenade launcher.
Have a good one.
Happy for one.
Leave it alone.
I will.
Oh.
Happily.
It's good. Au revoir, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I hate you.
I only said that because it sounded like that's what you said almost.